It's 11:47 p.m. The phone is already in his hand before he decides to pick it up. He doesn't remember unlocking it. He doesn't remember opening the app. By the time conscious thought arrives, his thumb is already scrolling, and some quiet part of him, watching from a distance, wonders how he got here again. Most people call this weakness, a failure of discipline, a character flaw to be fixed with enough willpower. That is not what's happening. What's happening is thousands of years old, mechanically precise, and running exactly as designed. Your brain is not malfunctioning when it reaches for a bad habit. It's succeeding at a job it was built for long before phones, sugar, or scrolling ever existed. Most people assume the brain is optimized to make them feel good. It isn't. The brain is optimized to make them survive. And for nearly all of evolutionary history, those two things happen to overlap. Finding food felt good because starvation was the alternative. Rest felt good because exhaustion made you pray. Social bonding felt good because isolation, for most of history, meant death. Then something happened that evolution never accounted for. We built a world that could trigger those ancient reward signals without requiring any of the survival benefit that used to come with them. Sugar without the scarcity that once made it rare. Attention and validation without the tribal bonds that once made it meaningful. Novelty and stimulation without any of the effort evolution expected us to spend earning it. The reward system didn't get worse. The world just started hacking it. Here's where most explanations of habit get it wrong. People assume dopamine is the chemical of pleasure, released when something good happens, as a kind of reward. Neuroscientists studying reward circuitry uncovered something stranger. Dopamine spikes most sharply, not during the reward itself, but in the anticipation of it, and even more intensely when the reward is uncertain. This single detail explains an enormous amount of human behavior. A notification you might have received, a message that might be good news, a slot machine that might pay out this time. The brain isn't chasing the reward, it's chasing the maybe. Researchers studying variable reward patterns found that unpredictable rewards produce a stronger, more persistent dopamine response than reliable, guaranteed ones. Certainty, strangely, is less addictive than uncertainty. This means the most habit-forming experiences in human history were never the ones that reliably made us happy. They were the ones that kept us guessing. Researchers have identified the same three-part structure repeating itself with mechanical precision. A cue, a routine, a reward. The cue is a trigger the brain barely registers consciously. A feeling of boredom, a certain time of night, a specific chair, a particular emotion. The routine is the behavior itself, and the reward is what reinforces the entire loop, teaching the brain, do this again next time you feel this way. What makes this loop so dangerous is not the reward, it's the cue. Once a cue becomes strongly associated with a behavior, the craving arrives before the decision does. Studies on habitual behavior have found that once a habit loop is established, brain activity associated with conscious decision-making actually decreases. The behavior becomes closer to reflex than choice. This is the disturbing part. By the time you're aware you're making a decision, the decision may have already been made somewhere else. Somewhere older, faster, and far less interested in your long-term goals than in this moment's relief. Most people assume bad habits are chased for pleasure. Increasingly, researchers studying addiction and compulsive behavior argue something different, that many habits, especially destructive ones, are maintained not by how good they feel, but by how effectively they stop something uncomfortable. Boredom, anxiety, loneliness, a restless, unnamed tension that builds quietly in the background of a normal day. The habit doesn't need to feel wonderful. It only needs to make the discomfort stop faster than anything else available. This reframes the entire problem. A bad habit is rarely irrational. It is, from the nervous system's point of view, the fastest known solution to a feeling it doesn't have the patience to sit with. Which means the question was never really, why can't I stop? It was, what am I trying to escape? Quickly enough that I don't have to notice I'm escaping it? Puzzle that unsettles behavioral scientists the most. When people imagine their future selves, brain imaging shows something remarkable. The region typically active when thinking about oneself often shows less activation, resembling patterns seen when thinking about a stranger. In other words, to a significant part of your brain, your future self is not fully you. This may explain why bad habits are so easy to justify in the moment. The person who will deal with the consequences, the tired one, the unhealthy one, the regretful one, doesn't feel entirely real yet. The reward is immediate, and it belongs to someone undeniably present. The cost is deferred, and it belongs to someone who, neurologically speaking, barely exists yet. We are not simply weak-willed. We are, in a very real sense, negotiating with someone we don't yet fully believe is us. Most people are taught that breaking a bad habit is a battle of willpower. Resist hard enough, and the habit disappears. Researchers studying long-term behavior change have found this to be one of the least reliable strategies available. Willpower functions less like a permanent trait and more like a depleting resource. Strongest in the morning, weakest under stress, fatigue, or emotional strain, which happens to be exactly when habitual cues are strongest too. This means the fight is almost always rigged from the start. The habit shows up precisely when the willpower to resist it is at its lowest. What actually changes long-standing habits, according to the research, isn't force. It's redesign. Changing the cue, altering the environment, replacing the routine, while keeping the underlying reward the mind is actually seeking intact. You don't defeat the loop by fighting it head-on. You defeat it by rebuilding it from the inside. Somewhere, right now, someone is reaching for a phone they didn't decide to pick up. Someone is opening a bag of food they weren't hungry for. Someone is repeating, for the 1,000th time, a behavior they've promised themselves they'd stop. We tend to see this as failure. But underneath every bad habit is a system that has never once stopped trying to protect us, chasing relief, chasing certainty, chasing the illusion of safety in a world that keeps offering artificial versions of things we were built to need. The habit was never proof that something is broken. It was proof that something very old, very loyal, and very literal-minded is still doing exactly what it was built to do, waiting only to be shown, patiently, that the world has changed.